I am now live. Paste the stream key into my software. I probably don't need that. I'm live on YouTube for the first time. This is Truth or Tea. Can't believe I'm showing my face. So, I live in Minneapolis now. And here's a presentation about my city. But I'm working on it. This is so new to me, this whole live stream. The idea was screen sharing. So, meeting ants on a log. There is a single ant still inhabiting my apartment. I think she's a she. And she's my only companion lately. I thought I might put this on my hat, but I might keep it in that 80s vibe. So before I got very absorbed in the tech, I was feeling it all and feeling emotions. And you know what? Now I decided I opted to send my loosh into the screen for the cabal and out to you. And it's this recycling system like that. And I'm trying to sense more and more and more into the off the screen, in the body. I knew a long time ago we would have this off the screeners movement, like back to the land, but off the screen. I don't know if I can fully go there. I'm a culture creator, but I think more and more about, well, basically I felt like I was dying basically recently until I set up my kitchen. So I could do my homemaking witch shit up stuff. You know, herbs are a required technology for these times. I'm not sure if I'm a fully back to the lander person, being that I create so much culture and it's the best way to reach you right now. I've always been attuned to tech. I think it's part of my lineage. So I'm not leaving the screen, but I'm dancing with the screen, being on and off and in and out. So thanks for being here with me on this Truth or Tea Live. I'm not drinking tea at all. I was kind of flung into this situation because it's easier on my computer, oddly, to record a live than it is to put it on my photo booth, record it, upload it to YouTube. So I'm streamlining the process. So this video is an update for Sovereignty Circle, which is my private online group where we navigate this agenda and this, I call it reset resiliency. And there's another focus of mine. Truth or Tea is a little bit more like reset resistance, but that resiliency, involves a lot of the feminine, a lot of the spirit. What I'm talking about now is like, I was feeling it all. I've been on this path these last few days, probably weeks, because it was pain for a few weeks. Last few days, it's been like a huge awakening. Like I passed through a threshold for real. I remember feeling like this back when I was healing from a chronic illness and I was required to go within and go into spirit. It's impossible to chew celery. So something like that has happened again. And a week ago, I was at a church and my friends prayed for me, laying on of hands. It was really, really powerful. I think that did something to help me shift. I know my bleed is dropping probably today, and it's a quarter moon, and I always have a quarter moon crisis for like the last several years. It's the quarter moons that fuck me up. I went on an accidental, super long walk around a fake lake that has some polarizing energies on it, kind of surrounding it. My Zen center that I went to for a long time is on that lake. So that's, I think, why I'm guided there. It has a new name, B'day Makaska, which is a Dakota name, but I'm not quite sure what that means. From what I noticed, the construction of the lake is fake, man-made. It's on a chain of lakes. All the richest people live on the other lakes. A few years ago, I did, we should do it again. It was like horrendously hard, but rewarding. A progressive dinner on the lake with this amazing group of people. Holy shit. A woman who runs a, how to say it, I don't know how to say it, but she runs, we call it an equitable food catering business. Anyway, that was amazing. People paddled and, canoed or whatever around this chain of lakes to a different meal at stations, basically like one station per lake. Anyway, that's the Lake of the Isles, chain of lakes. And it's always the best. So Zen Center, memories from this progressive dinner on the lake, best sunsets. And the last time I was there, I noticed there were obelisks on the adjacent cemetery. But I don't think cemeteries are really cemeteries, especially this one. There is a huge cluster. What it looks like is a chessboard on the corner adjacent to the parking lot. And there's a lot of obelisks that are very significant in the process of free energy. And then there's just other huge monuments. And I don't fully believe that those are all like for families, for individuals who died. Or some kind of power structures. In the oldest, kind of like Tartarian, if you want to call them Tartarian for sake of ease, buildings are inside big black iron fence. I remember a psychic telling me I was going to fall by a black iron fence. Still hasn't happened. I wonder if that was going to happen to me. I start walking in and there's these two very white-haired guys in really nice cars, like telling me to back up, and the security tells me to get out of there because they're closing. So I kind of processed that for a while. I'm just like, you motherfuckers, like, you're not closed. Those two guys in the cars are in there. There's like Masonic temple style buildings inside. Whatever, do whatever the fuck you're gonna do. And one more thing, right next to the obelisks in that cluster of basically like chess-like monuments, there was one outlier, and it was a sculpture. And it was those, you'll see them all over, modern kind of steel sculptures. And it's this, how to say it? I'll talk more and more on this channel how things are less and less ornate and more abstract. My background is an artist. I see where shit is going, and I kind of know now. I have more context as to why. Probably mind control, the more and more abstract we become. I think it's a way of processing the fracturing, but I meditate on it and engage with it a lot less. But this is an abstract sculpture. It's not even worth giving a whole lot of energy to, but it's like unfinished. It's like an unfinished. These points aren't quite meeting. It's like it's a twist. I have peanut butter on my hands. I'm in the process of eating. I've been channeling lately, so I have to go live. I recognize that I've done this before, but now I have a new name for it. Now I know exactly what it is, and I'm honoring it. I am channeling fucking hard right now, and my senses are just like blown open. So anyway, this sculpture, it's a twist, it's steel, it's dark, and it's just not meeting. It's just not quite, there's a lot of tension in that form. That was the one outlier structure by the one main obelisk, and there were several other obelisks. On a hill, it's a mound on a lake that I believe is man-made. Then when I got to the other side of the lake, so second of all, here's one of the other reasons I'm on this lake. I literally thought it was going to be maybe a half-hour walk. It was probably at least an hour or maybe 2 hours. It was a lot. There is my boss worked on it, a museum about electricity. I've never been there for some reason. I've never been there. It's interesting. I think a lot about seeing the construction photos and the basically deconstruction photos. during a presentation, they talked about basically all the anomalies that they found when they started to dig, or when they started to look at the past construction, not old construction, but like 90s or 80s, whatever, and how well documented that was, and how in those photos from the 80s or 90s, I think it was reconstruction, it was possibly a groundbreaking anyway, but there was a lot of anomalies. I keep thinking back to that because there's got to be a significant reason, unknown to everyone, I'm sure, more cabal style, why this museum about electricity was built right there. So, there could have been something in the ground. I'm talking ley lines, but there could have been even something more significant, and if it's ley lines, were there mounds near it? There certainly is across the lake, and maybe the lake itself was really significant burial grounds of some kind. And when I say burial, I don't necessarily mean indigenous people. Of course, there's overlays, and there's a plaque about the Dakota people who had inhabited the land for centuries. And I'm thinking like, no, not centuries, like thousands of years, and all this overlay, and how there were probably various other civilizations here hundreds of years ago and thousands of years ago. So there's lots of overlays. So this museum, never been in, just walked past the outside. I'm noticing that I'm kind of rounding this side of the lake, like right across, I keep bumping the table, right across from the museum. The hills are like this. This is the cemetery. This is not really the cemetery, but whatever is going on with the obelisk. And over here, there's like another hill, and this is the road you go down to go toward the lake and park and everything. Over here, there is this giant structure that I don't remember ever seeing before that has a gold dome on it. Gold domes are extremely significant in relation to free energy. They produce ionized energy for the inhabitants, and there may be something more in that. And then I'm like stressing. I'm like, what the fuck is that? Is that related to the obelisks? I mean, yes, but in modern times, are they related? Are those guys that I saw in the cemetery, is there some relationship there? So now I'm like, want to walk fast and just like get there to just investigate what this thing is that I don't think I'd ever noticed before. I'm not saying it's new, it's just something I hadn't noticed. And it's weird because it's not on any of the main streets. So I almost started to feel like, holy shit, is it hidden? It's like a mirage. And then, walking around the lake, and I'm looking at like the old cement and some of like the infrastructure, the bridges and stuff. And I doubt the timing that things were built. Then I walked past an area where there was a restaurant that burned down a year or so ago, and what they replaced it with is just basically a glorified parking lot with food trucks and like a pad for hip-hop dancers, which is cool. So people had their motorcycles and cars with the stereos pulled up, and there was some engagement crossover. There was like lots of people fishing on various boats, and all these sailboats kind of docked there in that little bay. And then I checked in with the Zen center that I used to go to and stuff, and then found it was a Greek Orthodox church, this golden domed. And I would have gone in there. It wasn't locked down in the way that the cemetery was. There was a guy, it felt benevolent, at least initially, that there was a guy carrying a basketball walking out of their gymnasium area. It was a nice message to me to keep it playful and should play basketball, but overall the message coming to mind is like that people are the last frontier, like people's energies are the last frontier, that we would be given a parking lot to replace the restaurant. It's just less and less significance for humanity, just common individuals, to access this lake. A lot of lakes get more and more developed, but lakes are a great place to process energy, and I've been doing that a lot lately, to receive a lot. I woke up with this message basically channeled to my friend who's been super, super sick. She knows it's an upgrade. She's not seeking medical care in the traditional sense, even though they're telling her it might be COVID, it might be mono, it might be tonsillitis. all these things. And I just thought, have you gone into water? Have you been laying on the earth? Have you been earthing? And she finally wrote back, and within a couple hours, and she like, you know what? It's funny you say that, because this is the first day I've gotten out of bed in like a full week. I finally feel a little bit better, and I'm currently sitting here with my feet on the ground. So she had been drawn to that. And so I'm really feeling that the earth is a healer. This is why I'm drawn to shamanism more than anything else. And there's so many symbols, signs, and signifiers in human relationships to be processing with one another. So I'm allowing myself to channel. It's all about the senses. The senses in the body is earth. Yesterday, I had a miserable time with feeling like every shirt that I wore was this incredible, insufferable smell that I couldn't get over. And then today, when I walked out into the patio, I was just blasted with the smell of tar. And I was like, wait, is this real? This is horrible. This is horrendous. I can't do this. I can't sit here. I have smelled everything since I sat here. And last week, I basically, probably for the first time, an entity visited me, and it wasn't a great experience. So I'm really looking into and sensing into all of that, but protecting myself. I'm figuring out a lot of ways to protect myself. So one other thing I'm allowing to come through, and that again, the sensory and the spirit was interrupted by the tech, and it's a dance. But I had started filming on my computer when I opened Slack to my Sovereignty Circle community, and two of the messages, just waterworks. And I don't think I can even answer. I don't think I can answer them here. I'll answer them privately. But the thing I'm most inspired by right now, that I listened to as I was falling asleep and as I was waking up, is Ascension Podcast, the most recent episode. I got to look up her name. No, it's not. Dang it. It's not the Bible. It's like more covert than that. But to my community, I'll link it, or I could link it in the show notes, I guess, since I'm doing that now. Since I'm doing shows now. This Ascension Podcast hit every mark of everything I'm deeply passionate about right now, and answered a lot of questions for me, and started to make it known to me that we have this vast community coming together with vast resources, and that we have arrived. We are the answer to our prayers. So got to keep these like bite-sized for the crew. Next time it'll be more deliberate, truther teeing and living. Living is how I describe the living. And let's go look at some presentations that I'm putting together, and just reading the news. I'm going to get back.